call the Honourable Shane Jones.
Sir, that was Mr Gilmore, who actually makes Paul Quinn sound and look clever. Sir, that was Mr Gilmore, who shares the name of a bikie from Wanganui, sir, a bikie from Wanganui who is known as Shagger. That was the nature of his contribution, sir, to this debate in the budgetary session. Sir, Mr Mallard has suggested that he's not actually to be referred to in that fashion because he resembles the janitor. And that's why, sir, the nature of his speech and the volume of Paul Quinn's noise, sir, shows that every Kiwi knows this budget is going to put the cost of living up. Now, sir, all the brouhaha about the budget, it will pass October, November, December, and when interest rates, sir, are up at 9, 10%, sir, when property developers realise, sir, that they have been given a get-out-of-jail card and rents will rise, so that's when people are going to come to us. Because as day follows night, the cost of living is definitely going to go up. So this budget actually is a design by the Prime Minister, the Prince of Parnell, to create a caste society. A society, sir, where if you've got wealth either inherited or if you've got wealth from protected areas of the economy, then your mobility and those of your kids' prospects is protected. But not, sir, the vast majority of New Zealanders. This is not a budget, sir, that is going to advance social mobility. And a society, sir, that is riddled with the absence of social mobility breeds resentment. It breeds fear, and they don't like being told, sir, shut up and don't be envious. Because that's the view, sir, of someone who is embedding a caste-like structure in our economy and forcing people to eke out an existence in the absence of collective investment. They don't have the opportunity to advance. So the Aussies have a vision that 40% of their workforce are going to be either tertiary or advanced post-secondary qualified. Nothing in this budget, sir, as shown by the Victoria University's need to cut university spaces, advances those people. It doesn't. Point to me, sir, one single page that narrows the gap between our country and Aussie. Not one single page. Sir, the entire budget rests on the assumption that the only lever that this government has at its disposal to effect economic development is tax. Sir, that is exactly the recipe used by Bill Birch and indeed going back to Ruth Richardson. What sort of economic growth or closing of disparities did we see during that period of time? A worsening, sir. This is a budget that, sir, it has an assumption that if you give people who are already wealthy more money, sir, somehow it's going to unleash a level of dynamism. Sir, that is not going to happen. And in that sense, sir, this budget is not going to narrow. This is the test they set for themselves. This is the test, sir, that they said, New Zealand, judge us on how we can narrow the gap of the Tasman Sea between Aotearoa and Aussie. It fails in every measurable form. So it needs to be said that when we change the tax system and move it more to consumption, there are some valid arguments, sir, in public policy why you do that. But why would you do it, sir, in order to enrich a tiny, narrow caste of people who already exercise an inordinate amount of power through their vested interests? All it does, sir, it deepens the roots of their ascendancy. It's almost, sir, that a group of aristocrats have seized control of the levers. The fiscal levers are enriching themselves. Sir, because the average family, it'll take them a while, sir, to work it out. But as day follows night, come 2011, when they go and buy the basic necessities, it is more expensive, rents have gone up, those who are trying to encourage nieces and nephews and children to buy a house, 10% interest rate, sir. 10% interest rate. Look forward to that. Sir, those are going to hurt the people who are currently silent, not the lobbyists who toppled this government from the property sector. Sir, if they didn't like the depreciation changes, no wonder they're afraid to take a capital gains tax to them. That's right. Sir, the lobbyists have triumphed. Sir, the lobbyists have triumphed. Sir, there was an invitation on this side of the House at our most senior level, to have an open discussion. But we learnt the lesson, sir, after we made a similar response to ETS. Didn't want anything, can't rely on the integrity. We made a similar request, sir. If you're going to effect a substantial change and look at both income and capital, we were willing to talk. Not a single response. So, the lobbyists, sir, the lobbyists have conquered this government. Now, where are those lobbyists coming from? Sir, they are coming from a very narrow range. There are a host of other advocates, sir. We will hear about them. Where are the interventions, sir, to change the structure and the nature of our wealth generation? So we all know we've got soil, we've got water, we've got climate, we've got fibre, we've got food, fish, agriculture. Nothing in this budget other than the filching of Jim Anderton's scheme and its anemic current example reflected in their R&D policies. Nothing actually moves our wealth up, sir, from commodity production into value added. Now, it's probably the case, sir, they don't know how to do it. The reason they don't know how to do it, sir, is because they are listening to a narrow group who feel that far too much has been done for everyone but their narrow interests. Sir, that's not a recipe for advancing a prosperous or cohesive society. And in 2011, there'll be actually a very simple choice to be made. The choice will be made for those of us who unashamedly believe, sir, and want to harness the power of collective power, not atomised, individual, base approaches to human welfare. That's what this is based on, sir. And we will have that debate, and we will show, sir, that the vast majority of New Zealanders who are caught in a wage economy far too low, sir, they will not vote for the effects or the architects of this budget. There will be people, sir, there will be people who are willing to give the Prime Minister the benefit of the doubt. Now, we accept that. The man will get the benefit of the doubt, but that doubt, sir, will be eclipsed by poverty. Look at the stats of the children and the grandchildren in the vulnerable parts of society where their ability to pay their way goes right down. That's number one. Number two, sir, look at the institutions that are designed to enable future generations of New Zealand to do better than their parents and grandparents. They're being starved. And, sir, look at the shape, the form of the firms that currently earn our export earnings, and how many of them have been given a recipe for step change in collaboration with the government. Nothing. There is this forlorn belief, sir, that by exclusively pulling on the levers of the IRD, you're going to unleash a whole new entrepreneurial flow of wealth. Sir, not only did the Prime Minister break the GST promise, not only has he sent garden variety, hard-working Kiwi families out of the workforce because they won't be able to put the mokopunas into early childhood education, but not only, sir, what it reflects, in addition to that broken promise, sir, is a narrow, quite frightening focus on the caste defined by the amount of money you can deny others enjoying just to enrich yourselves. And that's why, sir, this budget, after all the puffery has passed, will be seen as having driven poverty up in New Zealand.